As much as we maybe like to smile about it, there's a huge fan base for John Wick.
Oh, huge, absolutely huge. I don't care what anybody says. I'm a John Wick fan, although the third one is not my favorite. Anyways, at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, they did an amazing job. They sparked a lot of interest in the firearms industry, and you know, you got a good actor like Mr. Keanu, and that has set the world on fire as far as, you know, optic cuts, customization. You know, you go into a room and you got a guy standing behind a counter, you know, serving you guns like liquor. That gets a guy a little excited, you know.
I couldn't be more excited to be here with Justin Dellwo, CEO, founder of Axis Manufacturing. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for being here.
I appreciate it. Man, you are the best hidden secret in the firearms industry. We spent some time together, and man, I couldn't be more impressed with what you guys are doing here. Tell me a little bit about Axis. What do you guys do? What's your drive? What's your passion out there?
Passions is definitely the firearms and the industry. I love the firearms industry, every aspect of it, from retail to manufacturing, and that's what we mainly do is manufacturing. The people.
I agree. I mean, it's a huge group of great people. I mean, it's the experience you always have with like-minded people that are just good, values-based Americans trying to live out the American dream. And I'll tell you, I mean, you are flying that flag strong here at Axis. I mean, you know, what was the motivation to get started in this? Because, like, holy cow, you know, like starting a firearms company in America right now, like, there's a long list of things I feel are a lot less risky. You know?
That is definitely true. For me, I've always loved firearms. I, you know, grew up over in Montana, watching my grandpa play with firearms and, you know, working on them and then going hunting and all that stuff. Just like most people that have firearms or are into firearms. For me, the passion really took over when I found out you could make stuff. You could legally start manufacturing your own stuff in your house, and then I kind of got into doing more machining, and it kind of got a little bit bigger. And then, believe it or not, I actually had a heart attack, and that heart attack did a lot of things for me and opened my eyes up that you know, working for somebody, not that working for somebody is bad, but for me personally, it wasn't working for me. And so I decided to pull all my retirement money, and I bought a little Haas VFOE milling machine and kind of got started.
I'm going to get a lot of grief because the second you said I had a heart attack, I started chuckling. And the reason for that is you're probably the only human being on the planet who said you started a firearms company so that you could be less stressed out and protect your health than what you were doing before.
And I thought it was going to be a lot less stressful, but there's definitely a lot of stresses that go along with it. You know, you're dealing with the ATF, you're dealing with FBI. We personally deal with a lot of local agencies. You got paperwork. You got a lot to keep up with, and I definitely couldn't do it all by myself. And I have an amazing team behind me. And they just keep making it less stressful for me, for sure.
Well, what I love about it is, I mean, it is obvious, you know, looking at and much less operating any of the weapons you manufacture. It is clear you put your heart and your passion into it. It's clear that you know, you just don't make any compromises. I mean, they're some of the finest weapons I've ever handled, and you know, going back to the stress and the motivation of the business. You know, you're not just another AR manufacturer. You know, you're not just another gun reseller. I mean, in fact, you know, some of your specialty, your expertise resides in, you know, the very top echelon of fine custom-built weapons. You know, but also those that are fully automatic or silenced or both. And you know, I got the privilege of you know, seeing that in action today, and I'll tell you what, these are some of the best running guns, and we were shooting some big things out there silenced that you know, it almost felt like special effects out there. I mean, how do you do it? You know, what went into the engineering of what makes these guns so different?
just a lot of time and understanding what junk was out there and staying away from any of the junk. There's a lot of other AR-15 manufacturers out there. There is quite a few of them. The numbers of manufacturers have jumped up in the like 4,000 to 5,000 other manufacturers, and so to compete with all those guys out there, we definitely had to separate ourselves. Just the absolute finest in machining that we can do. You know, every year or so we're upgrading all of our tooling, our machines, and that's just going to continue for us. And then research and developing, you know, what works and what doesn't. The suppressors are an entirely different ballgame versus the firearms. There's a lot that's going on there, as you saw today, suppressing a full auto M60. And that suppressor was specifically designed for that gun. There's a few other extra things that go into that can or that suppressor that doesn't go into some of the other ones because of what that gun is. It's a full auto belt fed M60. It's shooting 7.62 by 51 or 308. What the other people like to use, but it's designed to do that, and you guys saw it at work today, and that's what we do.
But I mean, I'm used to an M60 unsuppressed, where you're feeling that percussion everywhere, you know, and the signature that thing leaves if you're anywhere near the dirt is huge.
Yeah, and if you noticed, I mean, the can did exactly what it was supposed to do. It suppressed it, it got rid of the recoil, and it was very manageable to where, we could take it off of that bench and one-hand it and just hold in the belt, and you'll see some of that as well in some of the videos.
But equally, you're throwing hundreds of rounds through that thing, and it's not changed its performance at all.
No, not at all, and that's what we strive for. So materials, engineering, design, that all plays a part into it. We try to strive to do the best, whether it's something that we're doing or if we're working with another company, which we do as well. We don't make everything because we can't, because we don't have the machines to do so. So we find the best manufacturers out there that can help us, and we'll utilize their engineering, their skills, their ideas, and then we combine it together. We'll definitely be bringing that all in shop as soon as we can, but that takes a little bit more money, and that's what we're doing. We're still in the growing phase. So as we're growing, we're taking baby steps. We're not, trying to jump out of our
Reaching
realm.
out beyond.
Exactly. And then we just, we started with AR-15s. Then we moved into the 9mm here, and then eventually we'll be moving into, AR-10 and other calibers. The goal is eventually to design my own gun from the ground up. Not based off of anything. We'll put everything into it that we've done with this same setup. So.
Well, I'll tell you another weapon that I was, wildly impressed with that you manufactured and I have to say, I mean, I have a lot of guns. I have a long history of shooting a lot of guns. And so it takes a lot for me to shoot something and smile. Certainly, I think I joked with you, and it wasn't a joke, that I probably smiled more on the range today than I have since I fired my first weapon at, I don't know,
awesome.
10, 11 years old.
Yeah, that's great.
After that, it just becomes a tool for work, and you're training with it, and I don't smile anymore at shooting weapons any more than I smile when I go to the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning.
There you go.
But I'll tell you, the weapon that I was impressed with is, I think you call it the Gray Man.
Yeah.
And it's this 300 blackout short barrel, and I'll tell you what, this is just, an amazing weapon.
Yeah, that's our latest firearm. It's a 7.5-inch 300 blackout. It's designed to be, low profile, discreet, extremely quiet, and effective.
Extremely quiet.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous how quiet this weapon is.
And even with our 4-baffle suppressor that we have on it, we can actually make it quieter with our 6-baffle, but we are trying to keep it low profile, CQB. We have another version of it that actually is going to include a side folder, so we'll be able to get a little bit more length off of it. But it's a everyday go to work for a guy that needs to do a professional job. That's what I designed it for. They go great into backpacks. So guys that do work is what we like to say around here. That's what we built it for, but we also didn't want to forget about the civilian market as well. That one happens to be a full auto machine gun, but we also designed or decided to do pistol variants, because most of the guys out there in the industry or normal consumers, that's what they're going to be going after. Not everybody wants to do a short barrel rifle configuration like that. The barrel that we use is a Faxon Firearms barrel. They are an ISO 9001 certified machine shop. They make amazing barrels, absolutely amazing. We chose them over quite a few other companies to put that on our weapon. And as you can see, or as you saw, it is extremely accurate.
It's
and
unbelievable.
It's just, it does work. And that, that gun falls in line with a few of our other firearms as well. We build most of our guns to be, if you want to say, mission specific, or whatever its specific purpose is, that's what we design our firearms for.
It is obvious these are built to the highest standards, the highest tolerances, and they perform as such. And I've fired a lot of ARs in my day, but it goes so far as to you put your money where your mouth is in backing these weapons.
Oh yeah, we stand behind all of our weapons. We lifetime guarantee, not a warranty. We guarantee the weapon will last you your lifetime and then some. And if you have a problem with it, we will immediately address it. We extend that also a little bit further with our law enforcement community by giving those guys exchange programs as well. Unfortunately, officers have to do work, as we say, with their weapons, and they lose those weapons right away. They go into evidence. With our guns, when we sell firearms to departments, we will give them another gun until they get that gun out of the little system that it's in. A lot of our local agencies here use our firearms every single day, and to have law enforcement, especially local, guys that you're going to see all the time, you see them at dinner, you're going to see them at the store, and they trust your weapon. And these guys have the opportunity to buy whatever firearm they want from all the other big boys out there, as I refer to them, and they choose my weapon. For one, they also get local service as well, but the gun is just going to do what it needs to do every single time. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
But I think that's what's impressive. I mean, there's plenty of 800-pound gorillas in this industry that have fancy taglines and slogans and claim to be the best and get their share of military contracts and whatnot. But I think what's impressive is it's clear you put heart and passion, behind your product, and each one that goes out the door is a reflection on your personal character. Speaking of government and law enforcement, I also noticed that part of your shop is also customization and modification. There's certainly a sweeping trend across many LEO departments where they're transitioning to red dots, and they're re-outfitting, remachining those slides, usually of their Glocks, to accommodate that red dot rather than buying a whole new arsenal. And I noticed that you were doing that.
We do quite a bit of that. That's one thing that I thought would be a good avenue to go down. It's pretty easy for us to do it. We guarantee our cuts to be absolutely perfect. We match fit them if they send the optic to us, so it's a snap fit. And then of course we stand behind that. And then we use the best machining out there as far as threading and stuff like that. We don't just ram jam taps down into that. We have very expensive tooling that goes down in there and does what it needs to do, and it makes it perfect every single time. And to have, again, law enforcement and trust us with doing that for them, it's kind of a little bit of a nod. We don't just call it wham bam, thank you ma'am, and out the door it goes. We take a lot of time in the cuts that we do, making them perfect. Being a machinist and a little OCD about tight tolerances and stuff like that, I like everything to be absolutely perfect, deburred perfect, machine perfect, surfaces are all perfect. That's what I really like about that sort of stuff. And to put it into somebody's hand and to see that gradual smile, and then they go to the range and they shoot it and they're sending us Instagram stuff and tagging us. It's a good feeling, and it's a good working firearm for them. Taking an existing, like a Glock, as much as they hate what people do to their guns, they love the fact that we can take that and turn it into a different gun for them, and it performs, and then they get a smile out of it.
It's amazing that the business that you've built here, the quality that you're able to produce, in this sea of manufacturers out there. You guys really stand out. So I certainly encourage my audience to reach out to you, look up what you do, give you guys a call. You're also some of the nicest guys in the industry. I've even learned, there's no such thing as dumb question around.
Not at all, no.
Because honestly, we had quite a treat today of you bringing out a lot of your collection, and a lot of those, people haven't even laid their eyes on, other than video games. So
yeah, you know, watching some of you guys shoot the stuff today that you'd never shot before, you know, and you got a couple of guys that hadn't really shot a lot, and to see them be a little bit leery about what they're shooting, next thing you know, that's like they'd been shooting them for the last, you know, couple years, if not more. That's a great feeling for me. I almost sometimes get more excited watching people shoot my firearms than actually shooting them myself, because I love to see how it's working for them, how it's you know, going down.
Yeah. No, but you know, I mean, it just shows your character more than anything, that you know, you're here to share your passion, you know, with everybody. And honestly, it's infectious. You know, I have to say,
Very much so.
I wasn't a fan of automatic suppressed weapons, believe it or not, until I spent the day with you and saw what well-built weapons can actually do, and it was a treat.
Yeah, we want them to definitely work for sure. The full auto stuff is, you know, not everybody can own that stuff. Not everybody can have that sort of stuff. So that's kind of my testing ground and proving ground as well, is if it's going to run in full auto without a problem, we're going to be able to send that thing down the road in semi-automatic configuration to any customer. They're going to be able to maintain it and then run it every single day for the rest of their life and pass it on.
Well, that you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say, you know, no matter how much you torture test a standard semi-AR, nothing will beat it up more than sending a few hundred rounds consistently in automatic and really seeing what that weapon's made out of. And the fact that, you know, not only does it fire flawlessly, you know, without a single misfeed or jam, but and suppressed and still operate flawlessly. But you can just feel the difference. I mean, the tolerances of these weapons, the smoothness of the operation, everything functions exactly the way an AR, you know, putting a mil-spec AR next to yours and feeling the difference, it's, you know, it's like a Porsche and a Yugo. So
that's a great. I like that. I like that a lot.
I just dated myself because I think Yugo's out of business. But
I remember those as well. Yeah, exactly.
But listen, Justin, I can't thank you enough for sharing time with us.
Not a problem.
And please check out Axis Manufacturing and everything that the guys are doing over here.
Well, we look forward to doing it again.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, take care.